It's the Soul Fantasy Show, Soul Fan Show. Hey, it's the Soul Fantasy Show live for Sunday, May 24th. Going over the Madden Sunday slate. Should be a fun slate. If you already haven't, please subscribe to this channel for DraftKings and Fanduel updates. And hopefully soon, Yahoo, whenever they come back online. They're not on there. Please subscribe to this channel if you haven't, because we got NFL action today. These are the three top quarterbacks that you see. I'm big on Tom Brady. I'm huge on Tom Brady. Why? Because he just gets things done when it comes to SNFL, simulated NFL action. He gets things done. So he had 4,000 yards. That's pretty swell. Pretty well. Not a lot of rushing yards, obviously. All right, so here's some of his stats. I'm big on Tom Brady. During the season, when he played the Texans, he had 28 fantasy points. Giants, Redskins, 28. So he can get that. He will get that for you. So I'm good on Tom Brady. Okay, see, there's one. See, 29, 25, 28, 28, 11, 9, 14. I got him going in the high 20s today. As I do Lamar Jackson, as always, will get you because he runs. He has a 56% chance to get 32-plus fantasy points. So your top two quarterbacks are Lamar Jackson, who's going to get you at least 30, and has a very easy matchup against Miami. All right, he's good to go. Watson, yes, today has a crown. 12% chance, 40% chance to get 30-plus fantasy points. So he has a 50-50 chance to get you 30-plus fantasy points for $7K. He's pretty good to go. I like Kirk Cousins as well. Let's see how many passing yards he had. He had 3,600 passing yards. Not bad. Only 6 interceptions. All right. Down a stretch at the end of the season last year, he struggled, but he was putting up 30 burgers. 32, 31, 23. That was towards the beginning of the season, so that's going to be relevant to today. So if you want to save some salary, you either go Kyler Murray or Kirk Cousins. Brisket obviously is starting, but I have no interest in him. Kyle Murray, I do. I like Kyle. He's okay. He's not going to get you over 30 fantasy points, but he's cheap, so he might get 24 plus. He's going to at least get 20, and he has a nice little average matchup. And then there's Ryan Fitzpatrick down there, who is not cheap today. He's $6K. I'd rather go Murray or Cousins over Fitzpatrick. But if I'm going to spend, I'm going Tom Brady. And then if I want to spend top-notch dollar, I'm going Lamar Jackson. And if I want to save that $500 for one of these running backs, you'll go Watson. So here are the crowns. Here, obviously, you always go McCaffrey, 31-plus fantasy points. And then we'll go over the crowns. All right, so he is 8 on DraftKings, 8-9 on Fanduel. Very expensive. That's why you might want to go a little cheaper. Look at that. 1,000 snaps. You know. All right. 287 rushing attempts. Almost 1,500 rushing yards. This guy is going to get these catches, too. 19 touchdowns. Look at that. Monsters. Receiving yards, 1,000. Last year, he was that 1,000 club. I think it might have been a record. He had 1,000 receiving yards and 1,000 plus rushing yards. 1,005 receiving yards. He just made it. And he had 1,300 rushing yards. This guy is a monster. 22, 35, 37. Yeah, he struggled, but then he went back to 34, 33, 40, 50. Look at that. Against the Buccaneers, he had 50. So let's go and see what his matchup is. He's playing the Rams. The Rams his opponent ranking is 19. So what do you think of the Rams? Does he run all over the Rams? Yes, he will. The Rams aren't that good defensively. They're an offensive juggernaut that can barely even, you can call that a juggernaut. So we'll go over some of these. There's a lot of running backs today. There's Dalvin Cook. Look at that, 31, 28, 16. There's Aaron Jones, 45, 52. Aaron Jones, 32% plus fantasy points at 17%. He's getting you 20 plus here. He's 100. Very hard matchup against Chicago. Their defense is tough. So I'd rather go Dalvin Cook. He has an easier matchup. 20. He's going to get it for, well, you're going to have to pay an extra $400. So then you're at to go Brady over Jackson. And then you go Cook and you get rid of Jones. But if you want to go Jones, then you go Lamar Jackson. Or you go McCaffrey and you go to a lower ranked quarterback that I discussed, like Kirk Cousins. So then there's these mid-range guys, Mark Ingram, Josh Jackson, Lindsey, Mack, White. They suck. Dick! No, they're okay. Mark Ingram, nah, I don't like him. Josh Jacobs, don't really like him. 16 fantasy points, 6,200. I'd rather just, if I want to go cheap, definitely go with David Johnson, 3,800. He has a very high chance to get an enormous amount of fantasy points. 16 plus fantasy points. There's no chance he's getting 0 to 8 fantasy points. He's getting, it says here 11. I think he gets more than that. 7, 7, 8, 1. Yeah, there's that price. Might be off. See, I hate when that happens. All right, so he didn't have a lot of attempts and touchdowns because he didn't play much. He was hurt all the time, but he's not hurt now. It's a video game. So I would go David Johnson depending on his price. He has a crown on him. It says 3,800. He might be more than that. We'll see as it comes along. Now, Drake. All right, Drake's always good. 31, 10, 14, 7, 10, 43, 36, 17. He has a crown. When you see these crowns, you just stick them in because you don't have to do the work. They do it for you. 4,700, 6K on Fanduel, 13 average. Okay, here's his snaps. A lot of rush attempts, almost 1,000 yards rushing. He had 8 touchdowns. That's pretty good. Okay, he had some kickoff returns. He might get that out of him. He had a good amount of receiving yards, 345. So he had some tackles. So we see that. Look at that, 36, 42, 17. Some really good numbers from Drake. Drake was good at the end of the season. And he's good now. He's good to go. And then here's some of the low-ranked running backs who definitely don't play James Devlin. James Devlin will crush you if you try to put him in there. He's going to get you less than 6 fantasy points. And even on FanDuel, he's expensive. Don't put Devlin in, please. Don't put Devlin. If he has an arrow, when you see this arrow, don't put these guys in. Patrick Lyard, I would not advise playing him. I would not play Mike Boone. Okay. You could play Sony Michel. I like him. I occasionally put him in for 3,500. Let's see his prices. See, he had a good, solid 10 and up. If you get 10 fantasy points, sometimes you're good. So we saw that. And he is 5,900 and 6,600 on FanDuel. So he's priced accordingly. All right, and you got Jamal Williams. If you want 10 fantasy points, he has a very tough matchup. I'm not going with Green Bay guys today unless you're playing the single slate. Then you can go with them because you have no choice, but that's a tough matchup. So did we see any Bears in here? I don't see any Bears. They don't like the Bears today either, so I would try to avoid that if I could. Bears-Packers game. So the top soul stud of the day is, as usual, he's been my stud before, DeAndre Hopkins. I love DeAndre Hopkins. He's one of my favorite running backs. You can count him on the whatever team he was in, the Texans. So he's 8-2 and $9,000. So take that savings on DraftKings and get him in. If you're playing Fanduel, I would spend up for him. I would just pay up for him as part of your salary. So 23, 16, 20, 29, 15, 27. A lot going on with this guy. He's really good. Let's see his matchup, though. His matchup is, look how easy his matchup is at his position. 32. That's the lowest possible matchup. He's definitely getting you well over 19 fantasy points, if not 30. DeAndre Hopkins is definitely worth paying up for. So then you have a lot of people that I've been talking to, like Adams, who's been doing good on simulated action. 29% chance to get 24 plus fantasy points. 7% chance to get 32 plus. He's probably going to do it. But he has a tough matchup with the Bears, like I said. But wide receivers are a little easier when you're playing the Bears. The Bears are very good at stopping the run game. So I would love to play the Bears D, though, if I could. That's why I would not advise playing Aaron Rodgers, because there's a lot of other quarterbacks you can play, unless you're playing the single slate. Keenan Allen, 23, 12, 13. And here are some of the... We'll go here real quick. You can see the ranks. These guys I'm not in love with, so I'll just show you to see what you want to do with them. Larry Fitzgerald, I would not play him. Okay, now we have Marquis Brown. He has a crown. Count that one out. He's not doing that. He has a chance to get 30 plus fantasy points. His matchup's simple. He's playing Miami, a very, very easy matchup. Whether it says it or not, 26, they're a little bit better with wide receivers. They're horrible against the run. So if you want to you put Lamar Jackson in there because he's going to run all over Miami. So then you spend up and you can stack with Marquise Brown and Lamar Jackson if you want. Then you can go... here's some of the low-end guys like Mike Williams. He'll get you 10. These guys might get you 10 fantasy points if you're lucky. Then you have Kirk, who could get you a 40. He has a very good chance to get 16 to 30 plus fantasy points. A very good chance. For only, it says 3.9. Let's see. 470 is 6,000 on FanDuel. Take the savings. I would just play him on DraftKings. I would not play him on FanDuel. Take your savings there. And we'll see. Fitzgerald, he's more expensive. I'd rather just, I would rather go Kirk than Fitzgerald. I would. He's at 100. Fitzgerald is at, what is he at? His DD is also 100. So I'd still just rather go Kirk. Yeah, I would. So here's some of the lower guys. And let's just go to the wires, the tight end spot before we get some lineups going. Greg Olsen. As usual, we're struggling to find tight ends week to week, day to day. And go Greg Olsen is seemingly the top tight end. He's always hurt, but in simulations, he's not going to get hurt. So he's going to get you 16 fantasy points. So he has a very easy position ranking at 25. He's going to get you 15 plus fantasy points. You got Waller. Will get you 15 plus fantasy points. Henry Hunter, everybody's going to play him, and he has an easy position rank. But the defense overall is tough, so he might struggle to get his 12 fantasy points. So that's why they show here 75% chance to get 18 to 16. He's going to get 8 to 16, but is he going to get the high end? No. He's going to get the lower end. That's why they have him at 12.9. But he might not get that. He might get like 8 to 9 fantasy points. So you're taking a risk, and there is a chance, a 17% chance, he doesn't get any fantasy points. 0 to 8 is a big chance. Or he could have an explosive game and get 30 fantasy points. So he's just like a crapshoot. So if you roll it, you might roll a 7 and win on the first roll. Or you could roll and 7 out when you got a point and you're done. You're fucked. Okay, so that's the risk you're taking with him. Mark Andrews is way more spread out at 5-1. He's definitely going to get that 15 fantasy points. He's cheaper. So if you want to take that crapshoot, go Henry. If you want to play safe, go Mark Andrews. That's where you're going. And he has an easy matchup against Miami. So, as we know, Miami's the team that's going to get stomped on today. Just stomped. They're going to get destroyed by the Ravens. So we said we like the Bears D. It's not on here. So I like the Bears defense. I don't like the Packers D. I like the Bears D. I don't know why they're not on here. Okay. So here's the position of Ds. Okay, here's their rankings. Raiders got a tough offense. Ravens. Oh, wow. See, look at that. Miami even got an easy or a horrible D. Ravens are expensive, but are going to put up the most points. If you care about this, if you don't just throw people in, so you can see these rankings here. So the easiest matchups are, as usual, the Patriots, the Ravens, and the Colts. Those who I would go with if you're playing the main slate. All right, here's some of the lineups. Let's see, here's the main slate. So right off the bat, they got Lamar Jackson teamed up with Calf, and Hopkins, and Olsen. But see here, they're going Mark Ingram. Now, that's just a common sense play, but we're trying to play smart. We want to play smart, right? Don't we want to play smart, or do we want to play common sense and just plug shit in? No, we want to play, how we play, Yeah, you're kind of stuck here with the D, so stuck with the D. So we saw him, and we don't have much left. Oh, we have one upgrade here. There we go. So you could do that. See a couple more of these lineups. There's Brady and guys I talked about. All right, so I want Hopkins in there. All right, let's see. We got Jamal Williams you could put, or Drake. So we'll try Drake. I didn't touch on Parker. I don't like him today. Don't like Parker today. So you could try to see where you can save money. Like we said, we're putting Marquis Brown in. We're keeping Andrews. Diggs is okay because we know his quarterback, where is he? Cousins is going to be better, so we saved there. I don't recommend you doing this right here. But I'm trying to lower down the price range so we can just get something cool in here. So Fuller. So there you go. You could do something like this and play around with your lineup like this. Here, let me just generate a couple more lineups, and then we'll go to there's a night slate, a 6 p.m. slate. So these are 3 games only. Then we'll go to the single slates. I like that quarterback, Deshaun Watson is his name. See, boom. No, don't play Phillip Rivers. Get him the fuck out of here. Kirk Cousins. You could play Kirk Cousins. What can we do here? We can go Dalvin Cook. Keep McCaffrey. Try to keep McCaffrey in there if you can. If you can. It might be tough. It might be expensive. Thielen. See, there we go. We got 2 nice Diggs and Thielen together. Again, happier than pigs rolling around in shit. Sorry. Man, they're all together again. Let me try to just get some regular generated lineups without me messing with them. All right, here we go. Here's a single slate. Arizona, New England. There's Brady. I love Brady today. I love Drake. I love Murray. I love Johnson. I don't know who Brent Huntley is, but I like Kirk, so I'm keeping this. Okay, I don't know who Damian Bird is, so get him the fuck out of here. David Johnson. Why wouldn't I do that? I would put Bird in over Johnson. Get him the fuck out of here. It's like, sorry, I don't want to curse too much and look crazy. I'm not crazy. All right, this is one of my favorite ones. I'm not playing with him, so I'll put anybody in over him. He is not one of my favorite quarterbacks. He sucks every game. I don't know how he's even a starter. I don't. No, I don't. I do not. I do not. I do not know how Brisket is still hanging on to that fucking gig, which might be on by a thread. He might be hanging on to it by a thread. I'm telling you, Brisket might be hanging on to that quarterback position by a fucking thread. All right, here's Oakland, Carolina. There's Mike Glennon hanging on to his job by a fucking thread. How is he even there? What team is he on? Does he even play anymore? Mike Glennon. I'll have to get you a couple more lineups. I doubt I'll be playing Glennon. The Las Vegas Raiders. Look at that. LV. Las Vegas. I really want to go to that stadium. It's a beautiful, beautiful stadium. I usually go to the Eagles, Philadelphia Eagles Stadium. We built the stadium back in about 2003 or 4. It was like $500 million. This new stadium now that the Raiders have, the Las Vegas Raiders Stadium, is $2 billion it costs to make. It looks like a shiny, it's a shiny black cylinder dome that can open in the back and has like a torch in the back. It's really cool. And there's these screens all over the stadium that are like everywhere. Like they're like little drops of water, like seems like flows. Screens flow. So if you're in Las Vegas, I advise you to all the tickets are sold out, but you can go to StubHub or somewhere like that and get tickets. If you're in Vegas and there's football and you're there on a Sunday and you don't go to a fucking Raiders football game there, you're missing out on some serious entertainment action. All right, it's the Soul Fan Show. Soul Fan Show. Please, if you already haven't subscribed, we're going to get deep into the football season this year. Very deep.